Bulldog fans, to the Bulldog Breakdown with Coach Rocco. I'm Cody Mummau. Glad to see you, Coach. A little chilly out here tonight.
Yes.
It's great.
Football weather.
It's football weather. You got to practice in with no rain, but it looks like we're going to get some rain this week. So, but we need it. This field doesn't need it because it's nice all the time. But hey, this is great. We're rolling on with the win streak, and they're throwing stuff back there. But tonight, I'm excited as we record this. We've got a special Osterbind Law Bulldog of the week. Might surprise you guys a little bit. And then, of course, we're going to do the Maddox Power play. And we're going to talk about Brookville, what was, and then Heritage, what is to come on Halloween night. Hey, we want to make sure that you follow us. Follow us on Instagram. We put stuff on there all the time. Follow us on X, which used to be Twitter. We update you on game night of all the scores that go on. Of course, Max Preps. We got people that are doing drive-by drive. We had over 4,000 people checking into the Brookville game the other night. And then, of course, Facebook. Facebook is where we are putting this, Facebook and YouTube. A lot of places to get involved. But let's hit it. To the film room we go. LCA 33-19 over Brookville. Coach, you said it before. It is hard to win football games.
Yes, it is.
Right? And so there's a lot of people that coming into this maybe had an idea of how they thought this game might go. Mm-hmm. I know that we had an idea of how we hoped it would go. But if you would have told most people that with about 2.5 to 3 minutes left in the game, the score would be 20-19, LCA winning, and Brookville having a chance to drive down and take the lead, that might have come to a surprise to some.
Yeah, I very well could have.
Not to you, though.
Well, I mean, you got to just play and fight and scratch and claw all the way to the end. And, you know, we talk about, playing against a faceless opponent and, just worrying about ourselves and being the best version of ourselves. We weren't actually the best version of ourselves last Friday night, but we fought and even right there at the end, scoring at the end and kind of putting it out of reach was, kind of a relief almost. But, I was really proud of the way the guys battled. We have a lot of bumps and bruises, as most teams do, 9th week of the season, and still very relevant and playing for meaningful games right now. So, I mean, everybody's got bumps and bruises, and we don't want anyone to feel sorry for us, but, it does impact when you don't have a whole lot of depth and calling on younger and more inexperienced kids. But like I said, the kids showed up and battled right till the end, and very proud of them. Yeah.
Like you said, it is hard to win, any level, hard to win a football game. It's interesting. We were down 19-13, scored 20 unanswered points, which is huge. And just to see that stat that stuck out to me, Jaden runs for 258. 31 rushes, I believe.
Unbelievable.
4 touchdowns. And then for me, Silas gets over 100 yards.
Over 100, 371 rushing yards on the game. I mean, it was complete control of the clock, and there were multiple times. Obviously, we were down very close and didn't come away. We had a fumble going into the end zone. A couple things that really woulda, coulda, should have been another touchdown or two, and then we just allowed them to stay close, and we let them have a couple breakaway explosive plays that you can't do, and we were in a dogfight.
I guess that's the one thing I was going to say. I think I've always respected Brookville as they're a great team, well coached, and but the level to which they were hitting hard. I mean, they came to play.
Yeah, they did.
Number 21, their running back. He's a young guy. I think.
A 10th grader.
10th grader, and he, like you said, there were some places where there's always mess ups, but he took advantage of those and snuck through those holes, and he made his way to the end zone pretty well. I got to talk to him for a minute afterwards, and that was a heartbreak loss for him. But a lot of props to Brookville for a very hard fought game and putting themselves in a chance to win. The 4th down stop with about 3 minutes left. What did you guys see there? What did you see your defense do right in that situation?
Yeah, I mean, we get ourselves into those kind of situations probably once or twice a game, and those are hard things to practice during the week, in practice. So when you get in those kind of situations, you really don't want to be in them.
Right.
But when you're in them, you really, gives you an opportunity to call defenses that are specific for those situations, and then, see how the kids perform with their backs against the wall. And, like I said, I think there were a lot of things that weren't clean football that night, but there were, when we needed it, we made plays. And again, so very thankful that we are still protecting a win streak, I guess.
Yeah. You talked about it. We had a couple turnovers that ended really strong drives for us. Unfortunate for us to turn the ball over, but again, one of those. I mean, I saw Jaden get hit. That guy put the shot just in the right spot. When the ball gets turned over, you've driven all the way down. We say we love when it happens for us on defense.
Right.
We get that ball. How do you get your guys? There's not a lot of time because you've said before a lot of those guys go out and play defense at that point. How does that affect their mentality, and what do you do here during the week to get them prepared to stay focused in those moments and not start spiraling? Yeah,
good question. I mean, ball security is a big thing that we practice every week, very hard, stressing it. High and tight with the ball, and Jay really does have a little bit of a habit as he's going into the crossing the goal line and into the end zone. He does kind of let up a little bit, and I mean, guys are going to whack him even 1 yard into the end zone. They're going to take a shot at him, and so he's really got to do a better job of getting pad level down and protecting the ball and still going at the defender, even if it's a yard into the end zone. Jay is a mature, seasoned veteran, and I mean, just as he was coming off the field, it was just like, hey man, we've got to be able to be in attack mode all the way into the end zone until I hear the whistle, and we just can't let up. He said, yes, coach, and we won't do it again, so. Somebody younger, you're right. I mean, it could be something that affects confidence and so forth, but I don't think we'll have any problem with him.
Got to have short-term memory.
Yeah, you got to turn the page.
Yeah. Speaking of Jaden, I was listening to some of the area podcasts and the Six Man podcast. They're big on Southside sports.
Yeah.
They describe Jaden as a problem. He's a problem for people. That was pretty cool. How does a game like this, we come off of the Rustburg game. We're not going to belabor that point, but really didn't advance us too much in preparation. Then you come into a game like this where we were tested. It was, the outcome was not determined until about 3 minutes left in the game. How does that help? I know there was bumps and bruises. I know there's things but how does that overall help your team prepare for this game against Heritage?
It's just like I said. It's fighting till the end. You just never know what's going to happen on the next play, and then you got to turn the page there, and then you got to fight on the next play, and then you got to turn the page, and so you're always just trying to be in the moment. And this guy sprained an ankle. We got a young kid in here, and whatever. It's just next man up, and you got to go. And I really am very, very proud of the guys, how they have. I said to the team today, 8 weeks ago, we were licking our wounds coming off the Ironton loss, and going into the bye weeks, and just not knowing what the future holds. And the only way we know how to deal with this is to get back to the grind and keep working and trying to improve on the areas where we didn't. And now 8 weeks later, I mean, we're sitting in a good spot. Got a really tough game, obviously, with Heritage, which could end up being for the Seminole District Championship, and we're thankful to be in that position again. But it's just taking one play at a time and just doing what is best to do for your team.
Right. We're going to talk about the Heritage game here in just a few moments. But before we do that, we're going to step away, and we're so thankful for our partners at Maddox Air Electrical and Plumbing for being a part of our team. And so we're going to go and share with you the Maddox Power Play of the Week.
It's time for the Maddox Power Play of the Week, brought to you by Maddox Air Electrical and Plumbing, keeping your home running strong. Let's check out this week's big-time play. Maddox, let's get started.
Third quarter crunch time. LCA down 19-13. Brookville had just scored from 63 yards out, but we blocked their extra point. Momentum now hangs in the balance and is slowly edging toward the bees. The Bulldogs need a play. Short kick, Bulldogs take over at the 42. Luke Gaither, 5 yards back with Jaden Coward to his left. Snap. Handoff. Roman Aronson pulls and boom, crushes the defensive end. Coward reads the hole, cuts, accelerates, traffic everywhere, he weaves, spots the sideline and turns on the Jets. 2 defenders close in, and Coward leaves just enough room to explode past. 58 yards, touchdown. Lead flipped, momentum seized. Bulldogs roll to a 33-19 win.
That was your Maddox Power Play of the Week, brought to you by Maddox Air Electrical and Plumbing. When it comes to your home, Maddox says, let's get started.
Wow, Coach, that was a big play, big moment. A lot of tension in Bulldog Stadium. For those of you that don't know, been with us just a little bit, the Bulldogs have not lost in our home stadium since it opened. I don't believe in luck. I don't even have any wood to knock on because we've got a team that scraps and fights. But Jaden breaking out that long run really shifted the tone, and that was the beginning of 20 unanswered points that ultimately propelled us to the win.
And like I said, there's a lot of times where if you just keep on fighting and then something good happens, then the pressure's on the other guys,
right?
And then they start getting a little bit tight, and then you keep pounding and you keep fighting and you do what you do, and then you find a little bit of a kink in the armor, and things start snowballing back on our side again,
right.
and that run really started that trend of things coming back to us, and then we went on to score 2 more touchdowns after that one, and really put the game away.
Yeah, it was one of those things because for the most part, we were kind of chasing them. They had the upper hand a little bit, and so there was this feeling of if we can just get over that hill, and once we did, you almost could feel that sense of on their part. There's a panic that sets in,
no doubt,
going into that fourth quarter. Coach, we have a special Osterbind Law Bulldog of the Week. Jaden did have the 200-plus yard game. We've already had Jaden on here, so you and I talked, and we actually talked a while back about Bulldog fans getting to know some of the coaches. We're going to bring Coach Jake Grove in here. And as we do, before I get to sit down with him, just wanted to ask you a couple questions about him. What does it mean to have somebody with NFL caliber experience? He's played at Jefferson Forest, played at Virginia Tech, played at Oakland, played in Miami. He's come back home. What's it mean to have him on your staff?
Jake, I don't know what he'll tell you, but I tried to get him multiple times, went after him a couple times, and it just wasn't right timing and whatever. And then finally, 3 years ago, both of his daughters are at LCA, and Jake and Katie, his wife, have become really big LCA supporters. And so really before he was a coach here, he was a Bulldog parent. And he really bought into what LCA is all about, and he saw how his daughters were being trained up in the classroom and some of the extracurriculars that they were involved in, and they just kind of fell in love with the whole LCA school community. And I think that was one of the things that really made it such that Jake said, you know what, I'm going to go and really dive into and be more of a part. And he's been tremendous. I mean, obviously, like you said, former NFL player, Remington Award winner. I mean, that's in itself just tells you the quality of his background and the offensive line play. But I mean, it's instant credibility.
Yeah.
You know, when he says he wants to come on our staff. You know, when he says something to the 16, 17-year-old kids, and he's got 9 years in NFL experience. I mean, there's instant credibility there, and I mean, our whole staff is so good, and the continuity that we have had over all the years, and now Jake even 3 years. I mean, it just seems like just yesterday it was his first year here. Now it's been 3 years, and so it's been a great run with these guys, and Jake has made a major impact on the kids on our team and in our program.
Yeah. With that being said, let's take a moment. Let's jump into the Osterbind Law Bulldog of the Week, Coach Jake Grove. All right, Bulldog fans, we are here with the Osterbind Bulldog of the Week, Coach Jake Grove. How you doing?
I'm great, thank you.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on being selected to come sit with me for a little bit.
Thank you.
No better place. Hey, Jake Grove, former NFL football player, Virginia Tech standout, and Jefferson Forest. Is that right?
Yep.
Jefferson Forest. Tell me a little bit how you got to Jefferson Forest, because you weren't from here originally, right? Where are you originally from?
I am. I'm from Bedford County.
Oh, so you are from Bedford County?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Grew up here. Went to Jefferson Forest. Had a great experience there, and then came back to the area to raise my kids. Thought it was a good place to raise a family, and so that's why we're here.
Was Coach Christmas out there when you were out
He
there?
was. He was my high school coach until my senior year, and then Ed Landis took over.
Okay.
And then when he was back at Jefferson Forest, I coached there with him a few years ago as well. So yeah.
So I played here. I played at LCA just a little bit before your time when Anthony Poindexter played at Jefferson Forest, and Coach Christmas always had such good teams.
Yep.
I mean, such a great coach.
Yep, absolutely.
So that's pretty awesome. So you go and you played at Virginia Tech. Where all did you play professionally?
So I was drafted by the Oakland Raiders in the second round. I played there 5 years, and then signed a free agent deal with the Miami Dolphins. I was there 2 years, got hurt, and then really just decided I didn't want to move around anymore, and decided to call it a career, and thought about it for a little bit, but then settled on moving back here, and that's kind of how we ended up at LCA.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I was going to ask you, how did you wind up with Coach Rocco? How did you wind up coming here to coach? What did that look like?
My kids came to school here. I believe my oldest was in 6th grade, and I thought about coaching then, and just wasn't quite ready to jump back into it. I had just stopped coaching at Jefferson Forest, and just wasn't quite ready yet. So 2 years ago, just felt like the right time, and it's really been we've done a lot of great things, so it's been a lot of fun.
That's cool. Hey, we got a great team this year. Tell me what you see as some of our biggest strengths on the Bulldogs this year.
I just think from top to bottom, these guys, they work hard, they fight together. They're a fun group to be around. I enjoy spending time with these guys. It's going to be really interesting to see how the season goes, because I think I'm excited about where it could go. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, watching our big guys this week, it was a fight against Brookville. What did you see that stood out to you as far as you were proud of an effort, and what are some things that you see need to improve as we get ready to go into this Heritage game?
Well, I think a lot of people thought that maybe we were just going to walk all over Brookville. Brookville's been a really good football program for like 50 years, or for a long time. So I knew they were going to come and fight, and they did. And I think that was maybe the perfect game for us last week to play, the game that we needed to play, to fight for 4 quarters. So, I knew that was how that was going to go. We learned a lot about ourselves, and definitely some things we need to fix as we move into playing Heritage this week. So it's going to take a great effort. We'll see what happens.
Somebody that just looks at a box score and sees 33-19 won't recognize it up until about 2.5 minutes left in the game. It's 20-19.
Yeah.
How does that flip so quick? Where it really came down to a 4-down thing. They went for it on fourth because they had to. What does it take as a lineman to number one for an offensive lineman you got to get out there and say this is ours to win, but also there's defensive linemen. These guys, they're the fight. What's it like in the trenches?
I think every week, it comes down to it's really 4 or 5 plays. It's really even games that are a lot to a little. It's really 4 or 5 plays that decide almost all these games. It's kind of crazy how that works. I think at any position, but especially offensive line, you never know when those 5 plays are going to happen. So you have to bring your very best every single play, every single quarter. You just never know until you know. So every play matters, and you gotta bring it every single second.
Speaking from a lineman, one of the things I love is Jaden Coward's getting a lot of love, in press, a lot of yards. Seems like every time he's asked about it, he talks about his linemen and stuff. It's a really popular thing to say, these guys don't get their names put up in lights. Tell me the mentality of the lineman, your guys here, as far as what is that something important for these guys to be known, or do they love the anonymity of we're a unit, and if their running back gets breaks free and gets a lot of yards, do they feel that accomplishment as well?
Well, I think everybody likes attention,
right?
So yeah, I as a player, I certainly liked all the attention that I got, and these guys certainly enjoy attention when they get it, and attention as a group, and also I think we take pride in the attention that Jaden gets and all the running backs. I could absolutely care less who's carrying the football,
right.
And I think all of those guys, they're not focused on who's carrying the ball. They're just focused on doing their job to the best of their ability, and so that's the life of an offensive lineman. You do your job so that other people can do their job and get the attention.
Nice. One final thing, LCA is different than a lot of schools in the fact that Christian is part of the name of the school, and Coach Rocco makes it an imperative that faith is a large part of what this team is about. It's not just about winning football games, it's about developing these young men into really people who understand what it means to follow Christ, because not all of them are going to follow Christ, but at least when they get off this team, they're going to understand it. For you, when you watch this, and even you personally, what does it mean to have a team that's centered around faith in Christ?
I think for me, I didn't grow up as around Thomas Road or LCA, so people can say a lot of things, and I knew that this place and that LCA was a Christian. They said they were Christian, and they said these things, but it wasn't until I got here. It's not just something that is said here on this team. I mean, it's actively something that is pursued and thought about every single day in everything that we do, whether it's in the meeting room, on the practice field, in the classroom for these guys. So, it's been a real blessing for me to be a part of it, and for each one of these young men, what they get to experience every day is it really is a special place.
Coach, it's been fun hanging out with you, and good luck this week. Bulldog fans, Coach Jay Grove, you can high five him after the game, because I believe we're gonna do it.
I hope so.
Let's go.
So, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep. All right, your Osterbind Law Bulldog of the Week, Coach Jay Grove. You're right. Awesome guy.
Yeah.
Loved hanging out with him. He's got a lot of fun stories. About
He can tell some stories.
He's got some great stories. Hey, Coach, we said right before we jumped into that, we're going to jump into talking about Heritage. We went through last week, talked about how it's going to impact this coming week. Friday, 7 p.m., City Stadium, across town. Beautiful setting for a football game. LCA 6-1, Heritage 7-1,
Right.
LCA number 1 in Division 3A, and Heritage is number 2. Just 1 and 2 right there, neck and neck. Both of the losses, Heritage losses is to an out-of-state team.
Right.
Ours is to an out-of-state team, and so there's a lot of stuff coming into this game that makes it for a fan very exciting. So here's the deal: go get your tickets on GoFan. You want to? We got a link in the description, links in the comments, because you don't want to be in line at City Stadium waiting to get in when this game starts. Heritage has always been a tough out. And some of the scores don't necessarily, kind of like that Brookville score last week, don't necessarily talk about the back and forth of the game. What have you seen in Heritage from what you've seen so far in film and heard from around the league? What is it about Heritage that has made them this dominant powerhouse that they've been so far?
Well, it starts with Brad Bradley, their coach. I mean, he is a very good coach, and we've talked about this before. Trying to train up 15, 16, 17-year-old kids is not always easy. To get them to do consistently, the right precise technique and eyes in the right spot and all the things that go along with excellence on a football field. And I don't know what he does, but every year, I mean, he's taken these kids and getting them to play with tremendous discipline. And then on top of that, I mean, they're very athletic. I mean, every year, they'll have, a dozen guys that are just athletic, fast, tough, quick athletes. And then, he cycles a little bit about the line play. Some years they're more smaller and quicker than another year or another phase. They might have, 2 or 3 years of just big guys.
Yeah.
Well, this cycle right now, their offensive line is big and physical, and their defensive line, there's a couple of big guys, but they're more quick, tough, strong, and so they have a little bit of both. But all in all, I mean, they're a very dynamic team. They score a lot of points, and it's hard to score against them.
Wow. Yeah, I figure they're big. We actually, in our youth group, their center comes and hangs out with us, and everybody calls him Breakfast. I'm like, hey, you call a guy Breakfast, he must be a big dude. He's a nice guy, but he asked me if I'm going to cheer for him. I said, I will come high five you after the game.
Right.
Hey, Coach, keys to winning at City Stadium. How do you prepare the guys for a place like that? What's the difference?
Yeah, it's a big stadium. We're used to, back in the days where we played over at Williams Stadium, where you put 5,000 people in a 30,000 seat stadium, and it doesn't seem like much.
Right.
City Stadium could seem like that sometimes, So the energy and the fan support and noise sometimes doesn't translate over there because it is such a big venue. So sometimes you got to kind of bring your own energy. Now, again, this game means a lot. So, I mean, I think just your average, Lynchburg area high school football fan that just wants to go see a good football game will show up. But typically, those are not the people that are making noise and cheering and whatever. They're there to watch a game. So, I think the overall, just the atmosphere might be a little different than, playing in our home stadium or a typical smaller, more confined high school stadium.
So you said this is not really X's and O's, but you talk about the environment. It's Halloween night, and so there's a lot of decisions going to be made by students and by families on what they're going to do on that night. I've been talking with some kids. So I guess that is the thing of, for me, the challenge that I've been putting out there is you're going to have Halloween, you're going to have these moments every year. It's going to come till you're old.
Right.
This is a once-in-a-lifetime moment for this class, for this generation of kids. Y'all should come out and hang out.
And I mean, I don't know why you can't do both. You go the first 5:30 to 7, go trick or treat, and then head on over to the stadium.
Right.
I hope that's what most people end up doing.
I will say that you could tell a difference during the Brookville game. The crowd getting involved.
Yeah.
There's a lot of noise coming on those third downs. It was really good. Huge stakes. Coach, playoffs are coming up, and I kind of want to jump into that with the Ask Coach Rocco.
Okay.
You can't talk about the Heritage game without talking the implications that this has.
Right.
We're number 1 in 3A. Heritage number 2. Playoff seeding is heating up. Walk us through some of the current playoff pictures, some of the people that you're seeing. How does this format for us going into this for the casual observer?
So quite honestly, there's a couple things that are still out there that are unknowns, and I don't know. Hopefully, maybe things settle into place after this week, but it may go all the way down to the last 2 weeks. I don't know if you're familiar, but Ironton, our first game, the loss, they are on sanctions right now in the state of Ohio. So
how does that impact us?
I don't know. I mean, quite honestly, we might get another win out of that, but the win may not really benefit us as much as the loss if they still are able to keep all of their wins.
Right.
So if they have to vacate their wins,
then you lose that.
And then we lose all their points, but we get a win for beating or winning based on the forfeit. You know? So I don't even know how that's going to play out. But as it stands right now in Region 3C, actually Broadway is just like 1/100th of a point ahead of LCA. We're 2, Wilson Memorial's 3, maybe Allegheny's 3, Wilson Memorial 4, and Heritage is 5. That's in the power points.
Right.
We still, and Heritage still, have not clinched a playoff berth. It seems kind of hard to believe at this point that we haven't, but mathematically, apparently, if we would lose 2 games and Heritage would lose 2, we could be on the outside looking in. I know, but that's the mathematics behind it. So, I mean, this game is extremely huge.
That's why you're sitting here going, I'm thankful we're still relevant.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
It could change.
That's right. It could change, and so obviously we're looking at this game, but then the final week of the season, things will come down to that as well. And where the seeding lies, I don't know. You want to be at least in the top 4, so you get a home game in the first round. And then, the higher you are, the greater chance you have in getting a home game if you win the first round, maybe the second round. So the higher the seed you are, the more you can stay at home as long as you can. And we've been very spoiled, obviously, the last couple of years, hosting all the way through and then actually going over across the road there for the state championship game at LU. Yeah.
Hey, if you're really interested in how area-wide things are panning out, District 2 Sports, they do a great job. I think you were on their podcast not too long ago.
Yeah.
They do a great job. They cover all the area teams and what's going on there, as well as the 6-man. They do kind of Southside Virginia, and they're really good. Coach, before we get done, the last thing on Ask Coach Rocco, who has stepped up this year on our team that maybe wasn't on the radar in August when you and I first sat down and we started talking? You talked about how different guys have had to come in and step in. Let's talk about some of those guys that are now making a difference.
Yeah, it's funny. I can still remember back, 8-9 weeks ago when we first started camp, and looking out into our team. We have JV and varsity in a meeting room together, 70-some guys, and eyeballs are looking up at me, and nobody not knowing really what the future holds. And you always predict that, there's a handful of guys that I'm looking at right now that are going to make major impact on this team. And right now you're sitting here just thinking that you're just going to go through the season and, nothing much is going to come of it. And right now you got to change that mindset, and if you can change that mindset, you're going to be that guy that we're going to eventually be counting on. Mason Vockrot comes to mind right away. Mason Gunn comes to mind.
yeah.
Mason's running back and a cornerback, a 10th grader. Vachrot's a junior. Abdi Castaneda is a junior outside linebacker, hadn't ever played varsity football, was a JV player last year, and now has worked his way into being a consistent contributor. Tyler Holowchek broke his, or had a shoulder separation or broke a collarbone last year as a JV player, missed the whole year.
Right.
And came back and worked really hard, and he's now one of our major cover guys on kickoff and special teams. I mean, I could probably list multiple more. Brock Starnes.
Oh, yeah.
Brock Starnes is a 170-pound defensive lineman playing against 300-pounders every week, and he's just a tenacious, grinder that just stays active and finds a way to get into gaps and finds his way into the backfield. And so I know I've missed some, but those 5 guys come to mind, every one of which wouldn't have really had a real understanding that they would be a major contributor, and they all have been.
Yeah, we're not 6-1 without those guys.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you see there's a hunger on that sideline. I see it and I feel it each week.
Yeah.
Everybody just waiting for their shot,
yeah.
and then they're jumping in. Coach, as we finish out, I'm gonna say this: if you've watched this far, Halloween night is coming up. There are limited moments like this, and a lot of students don't recognize this until they're adults, that they look back and these are the best moments. Even if you're not playing the game of football, to be there with your school, to represent, I would even say families. If bring the little ones, go trick-or-treating, bring candy, come sit in the stadium and cheer for the Bulldogs. This is a huge moment for our school, for this team. And so I would encourage you to come out, get your tickets on GoFan, walk up. Your phone is your ticket, and you walk right in. Coach, final thoughts? Anything that you got before we go?
No, just thankful that you kind of prompt our community each week, and really it is a family affair, and we do such a great job at home games. I mean, I'm thankful for Mr. Redgate, our new athletic director, and the athletic department for really putting together an atmosphere that is fun to go to on a Friday night, and then just the fact that like you said, you can't take it for granted. The fact that we are still alive. There's a lot of high school teams all over America, really, that are really putting their equipment away. Their season's over. They're sub 500, and they're just playing it out. And to be able to be in a position to still be playing meaningful games, going into November, I mean, is very, very humbling. And just thankful for the way our kids have really, finished out this year, and really could have gone a different way. And the kids really buckled down, and they wanted to make something of it, and I'm very proud of them.
Yeah. Hey, follow us again, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Max Preps, but be there, be at the game. It's going to be awesome. We'll come back next week. We'll break down the Heritage game. I'm excited for that. I've got all the belief in the world, and I know that you do too. So if there's not anything else, as we always say, go Dogs!